Hi, Mike Tag here again. So, I was struggling this week. I don't know what I wanted to quite cover a video on. Um, but I remembered I had talked briefly last video about my personal path. And this is kind of a video I've struggled with, whether or not I wanted to do it. Not because I'm ashamed or afraid to admit my past, but more so because it's like a personal thing. But moving forward to do the videos I want to do on the channel, it's kind of something that I have to cover. So you can kind of make sense of where we're at. But the thing I was struggling with the most wasn't so much doing the video, it was how to explain my path. Because it is very not typical. Um, and the best I came up with, because we're sitting out, it's actually, right now it's a waning moon, it's a crescent moon. And it's really good for like the recouping period of the month. And this is the dark time of the year. This is a lot of like internal growth and reflection. So I figured what would be best would be to show you the symbol I identify with as my religious symbol personally. And I actually got this from my wife. It was a gift, and I love it, and I wear it every single day. And I'll show it to you real quick. This right here, if it'll focus. Not so much, but this is the 8-pointed star. And the reason I identify so much with the 8-pointed star is because if you remember from my last video, I identify a lot with shamanism. But believe it or not, the 8-pointed star is actually called the Nazarene star, or the Star of Bethlehem. Not so much the Nazarene star now because ISIS has been using it to identify Christians and, reprimand them. But I can't get political here. I will eventually, mostly because I just don't give a damn. But not yet. But the reason I use the 8-pointed star so much, or why I identify with it so much, is because pretty much every religion that I take my ideals from has some version of the 8-pointed star in it. So obviously it's a Christian symbol. Believe it or not, I do consider myself Christian. In the sense of, like, I do every Sunday religiously, no pun intended. I go to church because I do believe in God, but maybe not God in the sense of what the King James Bible has turned it into. I feel like every religion worships God; they just call it something else. I do believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ, in the sense of he was an enlightened person that wanted to do good in the world. But besides that, you can't take a lot from the Bible too literal, because the King James Bible was man-made. The Old Testament was originally in Hebrew, and the reason I like this so much is the Bethlehem star, the Star of Bethlehem, is what, if you follow the old Jewish text, the Hebrew text of what the Bible was, because it's been translated and translated 600 other times, and I just don't like I love the church I go to. It's non-denominational. It's a non-denominational Christian church, and they're awesome. Everything they do is awesome. They're great. They do a lot for the public, a lot for families, a lot for kids, and I believe in that. That's what I believe in. Wholeness, unity of everybody. But if you follow the old Hebrew text, the Star of Bethlehem, the 3 wise men that we've come to know were actually called magi. They were considered magi, in the sense of ritual workers. All Christianity has rituals in it, whether they want to call it blasphemy or not. Catholic churches burn incense. That's ritualistic. Baptism, ritualistic. Anointing with oil, ritualistic. Communion, ritualistic. So there is ritual in Christianity, and the Magi were wise men that came to give their knowledge to the newborn Christ and to receive knowledge from the newborn Christ. But I'm by no means by the books Catholic, by the books Christian, because I'm not. I do believe in those teachings. I do resonate with those teachings. A lot of it's garbage. A lot of it's garbage. Goes into Satan being cast out in the Bible. That verse is actually referring to the king of Babylon being locked out of heaven. If you read the Bible, not once, nowhere until Revelations does it mention the war in heaven and Lucifer being cast out. Technically, Lucifer, when he talked to Jesus, was still in heaven. But regardless, I'm not here to debate it. I'm just, if you read it, this is what you get. But regardless, besides that, that's the Christian aspect of the 8-point star. It's also used nautically. Everywhere you see 8-pointed stars nautically, because it's a guiding star. It's the way I use it, the way I see it is, you got to follow your path. Your path is what's the right path. That's why I resonate so well with the 8-pointed star. Native American cultures, the 8-pointed star represents power and courage, but not courage like facing down an enemy. Courage when you're scared. When someone's shooting at you, it's easy to shoot back. You're scared, but you're courageous enough to save your own life. When you're battling mental health and depression and you're scared to go outside of your house, that's when you need courage. Native American culture, I shouldn't say religion, Native American culture, the 8-pointed star represented courage and power, which brings me down all the way to like Buddhism. They use the 8-pointed star, they call it the Dharma wheel, and it represents the Eightfold Path. You go down shamanism, which is huge for me. I took my 9 rites of shamanism. The 8th rite, not the final rite. The final rite is called the Creator's Rite, but the 8th rite is called the Starkeeper's Rite. And when you look into shamanism, and you're not going to find a lot about the rites unless you actually go somewhere to practice with a shamanistic group. The rites aren't something you can really research. The Maokai from Peru, they have that's like the basis that people go off of, but that's by no means the only shamanistic practice. However, what I'm referring to is the 8th rite for them as well. It's called the Starkeeper's Rite. Now, when you look into shamanism, there's 3 worlds. There's the underworld, the middle world, and the overworld. Upper world, sky world. But when you look into what each world is, the 8-pointed star represents the upper world, the overworld. And that's where your connection to the universe comes from, and your ability to travel, not so much like physically or astrally, but to take your perception of the world as a whole to try to predict outcomes, which was a huge part of my shamanistic path. I would say I'm more closely related to shamanists than I am to Catholics. And then the 8-pointed star goes into all kinds of other things. It's referred to as the fairy star in a lot of pagan cultures, and it's, again, a symbol representing unknown, hidden, otherworld knowledge and power. And then it goes into numerology. The number 8 represents completion and starting again and learning, because there's 7 full days, and then your 8th day would be the start of the new week. Even in Judaism, a child's brought into the church, like baptized. I'm by no means up on all my Judaism, but the 8th day of their life is when they join the church. That brings in numerology, even like the tree of life that you see everywhere. That's actually from Kabbalah, which is a form of Judaism. And then it gets into like old alchemy, not alchemy like, alchemy, but alchemy like the ritualistic practice of understanding the world through matter. In alchemy, the 8-pointed star represents your 4 parts of spirit on your journey being torn apart and recombined with the 4 parts, the 4 main elements. So to me, the 8-pointed star is, it takes a combination of all that and brings it to one, because my path is the path I made through the knowledge I obtained that resonates with me. And there's no part of that I'm ashamed to admit. No one can fault me. Really, I burn all my bridges because I don't follow any specific religion to a T. I pick and choose, and whatever makes sense to me is what I go with. But I can get into all kinds of stuff. It represents the hope, another shamanist thing, finding divinity in the world around you. And see, it also represents the crown chakra. But I don't really, especially in shamanism, chakras, the Muay Thai, like, in traditional shamanism, chakras aren't a thing. Like, they correspond, absolutely, but they're not called chakras. But to call it that is more New Age than anything. But that's a rant I can get into for a later date. But really, my path is a combination of all of these things that I've taken and learned. And it's perfectly represented by the 8-point star. Because as long as you're following your heart, your path can't be wrong. I'm going to be judged by whoever I'm judged by, whether it be God or the universe or the feminine divine or masculine divine, whether the Dharma wheel brings me back and reincarnates me. These are the things that I am aware of. I fully believe in karma, the idea of past lives. There's scientific basis for past lives. You can look it up. And that's what a big part of it is. And I think that's why I'm drawn so much to shamanism, because shamanism is a good analytical, scientific approach to spirituality. And I actually got it in a comment last week, and I loved it. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. And the Huntsman, putting it out there, was the one that stated, and it's probably one of my favorite lines ever, that today's science was yesterday's magic. And I feel like if we can get away from the dogma that is mainstream religion and not worry about being judged or criticized, because personally, I've been through the ringer. I have lived life to a fullest and came back. I've done everything. I've seen what I wanted to see. And I'm not ashamed or afraid of anything that I've become. And what I've become has made me a great person. I used to be a piece of shit. I will say 100%. I used to be a horrible person. But my path brought my life together. All the negative things that had happened in my past needed to happen to bring me to the positive point I'm in now. Happily married, I have a family. I couldn't ask for anything more. We're comfortable, we're happy, we're fed, full of love. And that's what matters. And that's why this means so much to me. This is my cross. This is my pinnacle. This is my pie stone. This is my mala beads. This is everything. Because this represents my journey and my path. And taking everything I learned and putting it to practice in my life with the help of the Bible and the Torah and the teachings of Buddha and the 9 rites of shamanism and the Wiccan Rede and all the things that I've taken from. And that has become my path. And ain't a damn person in the world is going to tell me I'm wrong. Because how can you be? But that's all. I just wanted to kind of lay a foundation for what I want to cover later on. And I will see you guys again Monday, or not, maybe before, but we'll see you. Okay, love you, bye.